Yo, what's up, guys? This is Why Not Be Reckless, aka Why Not Be Cast. I'm one of the HGS commentators, content creators, master at baiting my teammates. Don't know what an oddball is and never will. Why not? Why not feeling good? This is the HGS source where me and my boy Tim take you through all the stuff that's happened throughout the week's worth of Halo, and yeah, we try to figure things out, and we definitely got a whole lot to figure out. Watch the Mania 4Ks, all that good stuff. Speaking of Timothy, mouse and keyboard expert, former professional player, and head so large has its own gravitational pull. Timothy, tell him something.
Yeah, I don't know how to follow that one up, Tony, but yeah, I'm feeling good today. I'm ready to kind of talk about this. This is our first time having a guest on the stream. I'm excited about that, and just excited to talk about this 4K coming up and the teams that qualified. It was a great time. I didn't get to cast with you, Tony, last weekend, but it was still a great time, and looking forward to today. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, but you were in the action and whatnot. You were in the trenches, and I think you're gonna bring a unique perspective to talking about the qualifier that literally just happened over the weekend. And somebody else gonna bring a very unique perspective. I mean, I think when his young Halo career, I think he came over from Call of Duty, an 8-time grand finalist, what member of Status Quo, captain of Status Quo, and I guess more known for carrying Snake Bites luggage at every event. King J, why don't you tell the people something?
Well, like Active said, I don't really know where to lead off with that one, but yeah, it's me. It's King J. If you don't know who I am, that's fine. I don't think a lot of people do, but glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, glad you could shed some light on the tournament that just happened. That you're living in the darkness right now.
It's my
By the way,
bad,
guys,
dude.
this is normal. This man does not own any lights.
It's my bad. It's my bad,
Yeah.
dude.
The salary's so low, it can't even afford to pay the power, bro. We in a tough time right now, guys. We got to figure it out.
It's tough.
That's
But no, the qualifiers literally just happened over the weekend, and obviously King J and his team did compete in it. Spoiler, they did make it through, and they did qualify. So not only is Tim going to be able to give a unique perspective to the event, but also King J actually competing in, and it's going to be a nice long show. I know we have King J for the first hour, so I want to hop right into it and try to get through as much as possible with him. Tim, if it's okay with you, why don't we talk about the 4K qualifier? 4 teams meeting up with the top 12 that automatically moved over to the 4K this weekend based on points. They had to register through through Face It. Once they were registered, it calculated all the points that everybody had, and the top 12 automatically moved on. And the next set of teams had to compete during the qualifier. We know some of the best are there. To quickly go over some, you have Optic, Phase, Space Station, Native White, Native Red, G1, Shopify, Rebellion, Sentinels, Avengers, Proton Gaming, Complexity, and Cloud9. And the qualifier was to determine who were going to be the top 4 to make it through and join them in pool play on Saturday. First match I want to talk about, Darkest Hour versus Mantra. Darkest Hour, a team that was consistently making top 16 during the 2Ks, but only the top 12 moved to Thursday. Eventually kind of caught stride and caught fire during the first 4K, because not only did they qualify for that one, but they also made it all the way towards the winner's side, where they went up against Mantra, got 3-1 by Super CC, Ace, Mortally, and Septified. Did M305, Grand Shiesty, Tricky, and Yaxin. Speaking of Mantra, they definitely changed up their roster a little bit here, bringing an Ace instead of Bohm. King J, if you don't mind, so I want to get King J's thoughts first, because I know he has a unique perspective on this.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about this matchup, these teams. Just talk to me.
I mean, Darkest Hour, it's like 4 like up and comers, right? Like, I know a lot of people might not know them, but I mean, they've been like playing really good recently, like really good. Like you said, they've qualified for the last 4K. They did it again this time, albeit through losers. But I don't know. It's a tough qualifying matchup for them. Obviously, they ran into like a really solid team like Mort, Skep, Super CC, and Ace instead of Bohm. Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough qualifying matchup for them. I mean, it looks like they took a map off them, which is big. Like they can use that as momentum, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. It's just like I mean, it's a hard matchup, but you got to expect it because, it's, like you said, it's the qualifying match. I think, Mortali's and Skeptify's team probably took that series relatively easily. I didn't really watch it because I was busy playing, but yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see Darkest Hour show up. Like I said, like the past like I would say month, they've been playing really good. So
Yeah,
Darkest Hour will have a second chance in the lower bracket, even though they lost to Mantra here in the winners bracket. But that did have Mantra moving forward. Tim, did you have any thoughts about this?
Yeah, so one of the things that I just want to preface with is that I actually didn't get to see Status Quo with King J's team play, and I also didn't get to see Mantra play. I did get to see Darkest Hour though.
What are you here for?
So I did get to see Darkest Hour play, and yeah, I was very impressed. And honestly, kind of, I know that they qualified last time as well, but it's just this kind of a new team to me. Like, it just kind of sprung out of nowhere. And some of the things I saw out of Yaxon, some of the things I saw out of Tricky, like there were some massive plays being made. Like there's just those people that, they have that ice in situations where like you need to make a play, and they just showed up almost every time. And it was really good to see. I didn't get to see, like I said, against Mantra, but like King J said, and I 100% agree, taking that one game gives you that little bit of confidence, and they'll be able to take that back, do a little bit of VOD review, and kind of see where they can take it in terms of the 4K coming up.
Yeah, I mean, I've matched up a ton in matchmaking, but one thing I've learned quickly is that players and teams play a lot differently in tournament play than they do matchmaking. You see them going for some fun stuff over in matchmaking, but then when they get to the tournament play, they're still scrappy, but they're a lot more coordinated than you would expect, and they come at you fast, they come at you hard, and Darkest Hour definitely were one of the dark horse teams coming into this, but I also want to give the flowers to Mantra. Mantra making a huge change in bringing in Ace, which reunites him with Waterly and Super CC back from that TSS roster that ran through late season 1, and now you have Septify, who was former teammates with Super CC back at Fnatic, and this team makes sense. Ace has big shoes to fill. I think Bohm is good. He plays a great back roll. The man, usually plays on lower sensitivity, so usually hits his shots pretty well. Jay, I know you teamed with him briefly. If you wouldn't mind just talking about it briefly, like, what does Bohm bring to the table, and what are Mantra losing?
Yeah, like Bohm got scooped up by Cloud9. He's like really close with Nemesis, so that just makes sense that he ended up over there. Teamed with him back on BBG for a while. I love Bohm. He, like you said, he shoots straight. I think his only downside is sometimes he makes some crazy plays, which that was just my perspective on team with him. That was almost a year ago now, so obviously he could have changed and got better. But I think above all, Bohm, I think the biggest thing he brings to the table is his positivity and his vibes. Bohm doesn't ever tilt. He's always joking. He's always laughing, which goes a long way. I don't think people understand how far that actually goes. So I mean, yeah, Bohm I love that guy. So it's good for Cloud9 to be picking him up.
Yeah, I didn't team with him in Halo, but he was my duo in basketball, and he definitely brought the vibes. He definitely brought the vibes, and he a shooter. He got a little shot on. I ain't gonna lie, but watch out for Bohm on the basketball court. The second matchup in the winners bracket, by the way, Mantra again moving forward. Darkest Hour having to drop to elimination bracket. Second matchup that we had was Status Quo going up against Team Locked. Status Quo made up of the gentlemen sitting in the dark right next to us in the Shadow Realm, Piggy, Cherished, and Diagram. Was surprised to see Diagram coming in as the fourth onto this roster, but after the retired Straight Sick announcement, they needed to fill the role. Obviously, Diagram coming in. I want to get your perspective on that soon.
Yeah.
But you went up against Locked, which was Envor, Tony Two Turned, Jazero, and Arctic. Tim, I'm going to start with you if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
I'm going to start with you. 3-1 in favor of Status Quo.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
How did you feel about this matchup?
So again, I streamed the whole day, and then I ended up doing the lower bracket towards the end. I ended up casting that with Garrett. So I do have a perspective on Locked, and I want to talk about them a little bit. They ended up destroying. We're talking about absolutely destroying Shell, and I thought the Shell played phenomenal in the lower bracket, right? They destroyed them. They got 2-0, and then, PC wouldn't turn on from Rob, so he had to...
That's good.
Yeah, I'm going to preface that.
A matchup later. Yeah, but
it's
that's good information. Hold on
Tony,
to that.
Context. Give me a second. Context. So the big thing for me was, seeing that and then kind of, looking at Status Quo 3-1ing Locked. I mean, that to me is insane. That means that we're talking about, multiple steps above, and that without watching this version of Status Quo play, I'm very impressed by that because I thought Locke played an incredible series that we're not going to talk about anymore because I'm being interrupted by this man on my side. But I will say, very impressed by that, and honestly, I'm excited to see what you guys do in the 4K. And I mean, Locked is a great team, so to 3-1, that's nuts in my opinion.
Yeah.
Jay, the floor is yours. Please talk to us a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we knew like the way we've been playing since we picked up Drew and scrims and whatnot. We knew like we were gonna get through winners. No, I wouldn't say easily. I mean, obviously we are confident, like, but we also knew like Locked was gonna be our hardest matchup. We knew we knew that like we knew we would end up playing them to qualify. The thing about Locked is like you look at their team, it's Envor, Tony, Jazero, Arctic. There's not a single like weak link.
Right.
Like, there's no weak player on that team. All four of them are great players, have been for a while, always will be. I don't think our series is a good like showing of their capabilities. I mean we like you said, like, I don't want to like sound cocky, but we kind of like rolled them, and
Yeah.
I don't think that's like an accurate showing for them. I don't know if we caught them on like a bad series or bad maps or something. But I mean, obviously, like I said, those four guys are great, and I'm sure they'll be fine in the 4K. But the series just went our way. I don't know. We kind of threw map one. I don't know if anyone watched, but we quite literally threw as hard as you possibly could, and which kind of like pissed us off because it's like they didn't beat us. Like we just handed them the win.
Yeah.
So like the next three maps, we're like, okay, like lock in. Like we really gotta like stop trolling, and we did, and we won 3 straight, and boom, qualified through winners.
Wow. I kind of just not to take your floor, Tony. I just kind of want to compliment you on that. Like I love the humble talk right there. I mean that like to say that, you know, to see that team, to see that squad and say, hey, you know what, they weren't playing their best game. You're able to recognize something like that, and the fact that you're even looking at them, you know, you got to play them to qualify. You guys 3-1 them, and you can still sit back and say, you know what, they didn't play their best game. So I think that's really, I think that's amazing. I love the humble attitude. That's awesome.
Thank you, appreciate it. I mean,
and,
it too. Not an act.
Of course, and I love that. Yeah, that's what it definitely seemed genuine. That's why I think that's awesome because that like just kind of creates storylines going into the 4K again. If you know, I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
It sounds like you guys have the confidence, you got the humbleness, and somehow going to need even more than that when you guys make it to pool play on Saturday. Because with that 3-1 overlocked, you guys are making it into pool play, and that's going to be the next test. Oh.
I don't know if I think qualifying through winners was a mistake. Like we got punished for going. Dude, we are in the group of fucking.
That is
like,
that's tough.
We gonna talk about it.
Dude, we have a hard group, and I like low key. I was like, dude, should we have like thrown and like qualified losers? Like, because the group we got put in is like so hard. But I mean, I think we'll talk about the groups a little later, right?
Yeah.
I can save my thoughts for that.
We're gonna talk about it later soon. I'm making this a lightning round, talking about the 4K qualifier because there's definitely a lot of stuff to talk about pool play. Like you said, status quo. They come at you hard. They come at you coordinated. You guys were one. I'm pretty sure anybody who looked at the teams that were available for this 4K qualifier had you guys qualifying and most likely through the winners bracket. I don't think anybody's really surprised. I will say though, I'm a big fan of any team that involves Envor and Tony Two-Turn. I think Envor obviously a ton of passion. I think he plays really well. He can slay, he can stay alive. He does a little bit of IGLing. You combine that with Tony Two-Turn, who's a loose cannon like the best way possible. The man can absolutely go off, and it's incredible to watch. Arctic, dude, when he's on fire, it's scary. I've seen him just put down damage on people and stay alive. It's been crazy. And then I got the chance to talk to Stro back on Fnatic and even Posey just recently, and they all say the same thing about Jazero, is that Jazero is a great glue player for this team specifically, because if there's one thing that Locke needed was maybe like less firepower and more of a player that might like more team oriented, that's going to bring them together, and that's what Jazero does. I know Envoy does a lot of the play calling, but Jazero was a play caller back on Fnatic as well. So maybe, you know, they can, maybe, you know, when one of them dies, you know, you get that ultimate map view. Now you're just feeding information to your team and hopefully getting a little bit more coordinated. Hopefully that's what Locke needed. They needed something to go after status quo, because you guys handed him a little bit, and or maybe you just woke him up.
Yeah.
Maybe you just woke him up because
Maybe we screwed over the lower bracket teams by sending them down there all angry because
well,
they ran through everybody as soon as they got down there. So.
and that's exactly what we're going to talk about because the very next matchup, which Tim, I'm going to start with you if you because I know you guys know you got some stuff to talk about this because Locked 3-0ing the ultimate defense, the shell of the turtle, 3-0 sweep for Locked. However, there was a little bit of, I don't want to say foul play, a little bit of a act of God. I'm not sure exactly what happened, Tim.
Some unluckiness.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. It was 1-0 in the Slayer. I want to say 44-36, where we thought was a crash, but ended up being a meltdown. Talk to us a little bit about what happened during that series.
Yeah, so it would have ended in a 2-0, and based off of how the game was going, but I don't know. I just felt like, after watching the Shell for so long, they have these moments where I don't know what it is. They just turn the tide, like kind of like flipping the switch, back against the wall type thing. And, Rob the Turtle really impressed me. Even Piles impressed me. And Piles has been around for a long time. He's as old as my grandfather. He's an old guy, all right? He's been around for a while, but he can still shoot like the best of them. His team's chemistry is phenomenal. Bid is one of those players who's been around for a long time as well. Same with Stan. Rob as well. I mean, they've all been around for so long, and I feel like that they're wise. And I feel like, they're able to kind of bring that veteranship to play on their back foot. And I had a feeling this series was going to turn around. I don't know why. And I'm not going to say I'm always right about it. I'm right pretty often when I make those predictions. It's just something after watching Halo for 2 decades, I kind of just watch how a player's playing and like kind of just see like the reticle movement, the movement of the player, like the confidence. And when you see that, like that switch flip on someone, I just feel like that was happening on the side of the shell. And then, Rob the Turtle's computer just decided to die, and it was a rough one. I mean, there was a lot of competitive integrity going on there too, because even Bid, there was a point where he was like, just take, I think, he said like, just, you get the first game, I think it was, or something. I think it was a crash there too. I don't remember exactly, but there was one game where Bid was like, you guys can have it, like go next. And everyone was like, wow, okay, and then they had another problem with Rob's PC. And I mean, Locked is a great team that you can't take anything away from these guys. Like King J said, I think it was perfectly said. I think there is no weak link on this squad at all. Like they're all so good, and they all fill their spots so well and adapt so well in game, which is amazing. So I mean, Shell was really good, but unfortunate for them.
Yeah, I feel like exactly what Jay said about Locked can be like translated to the Shell here. Like, there's no weak link. Like, we've been watching Rob and Palace, and I share some of this sentiment for a long time. And Bid teaches. I was a little new to him back in Halo Infinite. I cast it over during an esports arena event, and this man's movement is cracked out. Like he's in every shot. I was like, okay, this dude is nasty. Like, watch out for him. And Stan Paradigm, he handed me the business in a Halo 5/8 lobby, and he didn't even play Halo 5 like that. So I already knew he was good. There's barely a weak link here. On the show, and I wish we could have finished out this series because how many times have we seen reverse sweeps, or at least seen like teams put themselves in reverse sweep scenarios. I would love to see the rest of this. Jay, did you get the chance to watch any of this at all?
I watched. I think I watched map 1. I don't know. It's unlucky. Obviously, Rob's PC kind of died. There's no saying what could have happened. Locked looked like they were like taking the series easily from what I could tell. But like I said, it also wouldn't surprise me if the Shell stole map 3 and then like use that to like some momentum. And we'll never know because Rob's PC didn't make it, unfortunately. So it is what it is. But I don't think it comes as any surprise that Locked are going through anyways.
Agreed.
Well, sadly, the Shell weren't able to make it through, but Lock did, and it's registered as a 3-0, and they're going into the not the qualifiers, the 4K pools this Saturday, and then the final team joining them, Darkest Hour, 3-0 crowd pleasers. The very team that got 1-3 by Mantra up in the winners bracket. The same team that surprised everybody by qualifying for the first 4K now is qualified for back-to-back one, this time under the org Darkest Hour, M305, Grand Shiesty, Tricky, and Yakzin beat out Kratos, Burton, Shock, and Avenue. 3-0 for Darkest Hour. I don't know. I'm not sure there's any other PC meltdowns or not. I don't know if this was just going around, but Jay, I want to start with you. Talk to me a little about this matchup, 3-0 for Darkest Hour.
A lot of people, I'm sure a lot of people might look at the rosters and look at the names and be like, something went wrong. Like how? But that's like, I've played both these teams. Like that is like seeing the 3-0 doesn't surprise me. Like I said, Darkest Hour they're good. Like it's not a fluke. Like it's just the second one in a row they qualified for. It's not a fluke that they beat the team. To play devil's advocate a little bit, Crowd Pleasers was a throw together team. Like they didn't have any practice. They just threw the team together. I think literally like night before. I think Shock got dropped from his team for Jazero like the night before. So like obviously Crowd Pleasers have no practice coming into it, which obviously takes effect. Obviously 4 good players on Crowd Pleasers. They're all 4 of them are good, but it doesn't surprise me that Darkest Hour beat them. Maybe the 3-0 is a little surprising, but the Darkest Hour going through doesn't surprise me at all.
Doesn't surprise Jay. Tim, were you surprised at all, or are you just saying thing like, rinse, wash, and repeat?
Yeah, so that's a really good point about the 3-0. We saw something out of Kratos in that third game. I don't know
Please don't say it.
I know I shouldn't open this. I shouldn't open this can of worms, but dude, I'm gonna be honest with you. He played really well. He got into a flow state, right?
I thought you were gonna say something else.
No. So we were casting it, and something happened in him, and he entered this flow state. He was dominant. It was Live Fire, King of the Hill, I believe it was. And Kratos was absolutely dominating. We're talking like entered flow state and was unstoppable. This is one of those games you got to watch back because.
Tim.
Well, go ahead.
I don't know if you want to play it for them real quick. I have the clip that you're talking about. It's 10 minutes. It was at the 10 hour 41 second mark where Kratos drops a triple kill, then drops the smoke over towards top mid.
Yeah,
that's one of the plays you're talking about, right?
Yeah. Toss it to me.
I actually have it bookmarked and everything.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let me see. I didn't see the series. Let me see it because. Listen, Los is one of my old ex teammates, and let me see what he was working with because I know the Los I got, so I want to see the Los the Crowd Pleasers.
Dude, it was crazy, man. We were blown away.
In the group chat, and it even skips to that time. I believe what happens where Burton gets stuck, lose the sniper, Kratos pulls it. I also posted in the chat.
Okay.
We going a little LVT right now. I'm ready. I knew you were gonna talk about this, and I had this clip ready, Tim. I had it ready.
All right, here we go. Let's check it out.
And it's just Los by himself. Oh no, he goes down. Darkest Hour, they have the spawn. Shock with that nade though. This is so tough, right? You have to find the right push, the right way in, and Shock with this heat wave. This is exactly what you need. This is the utility you want.
We hit the shots though. Puts one in. That player's gonna be no shields on top center. Shock does get that kill. 3 down for Darkest Hour. They get the cap. Finally close it out. They need one more to potentially bring this reverse sweep into effect. Darkest Hour wins this, they will qualify. And it's up to this.
There you go, little nice little triple, one-way smoke. Posey said he didn't like that smoke. I thought it was creative. I didn't know. I wanted to watch it more and then figure out if I was like in love with the smoke or not. But either way, a nice little triple, nice little play by Kratos. Was that one of the plays you were thinking of?
The timestamp that you gave me, it did not cover. Yeah, it didn't cover that. I don't know.
All I saw was Kratos die.
Yeah, this was the third. It might have been like a 240.
It might have been a few seconds beforehand.
It's all good.
Sorry.
I was so confused. I'm like,
it was at 10. It was 10:41:33. I was supposed to give it to you. Right. I'm so sorry.
Let's just real quick watch it again because we have to see. This was nuts.
10:41:33. I'm so sorry.
It's all good. I'm gonna start at 10:41:26 and we'll just we'll let it play. Yeah. See, this is wait. Hold on.
Yeah.
And we're just gonna do this right from here. Okay. This was it. We gotta watch. This was nuts.
It feels like they're entering the zone, right? I feel like Kratos is in the Matrix right now. knowing exactly how he needs to play for his team. And now with the sniper rifle in his hands as well, this is really Kratos' game to win for his team. They have the advantage. It's up to him to stay alive at tower.
He's got the sniper in hand, and like you said, this is called flow state. Triple kill. Wants to get the over. M305 is not challenging that one, but he gets a nade to the butt from Burton. And now all on spawn is Darkest Hour. Crowd Pleaser is about to get their third hill.
What in the world is that, though?
That is called the one-way smoke.
I don't think that was on purpose. I think that smoke was an accident. Good clip.
So that's something that when the shroud screen came out, it wasn't just me, but like a lot of people talked about the one-way smoke that you're literally, you can see their feed, you line it up completely, like it's perfect. But you're right, it probably was an accident.
That was not on purpose.
But
I'm telling you that was
but it was just it was a sick triple, and he was going off before then too, but it was absolutely nuts. But anyway, that was cool.
Yeah, when you were mentioning the matchup and him going off, I was like, that was what I thought about. And
Love
I
that.
thought I sent you the right timestamp. I
That's all good.
apologize.
No, it's all good.
Eventually, we found it, and I was like, I know for a fact this is what Tim is talking about. So I tried to find the clip for you. So you said you weren't surprised the Darkest Hour. I just want to correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
You weren't surprised the Darkest Hour won. You were surprised that it was a 3-0. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah, just because, like I said, Darkest Hour is on the come up. They've been playing really good lately, and like if you look at the gamer, if you just look at the gamer tags, I'm sure everyone will pick Crowd Pleasers to win. But like if you really know how these teams play, and the fact that Crowd Pleasers was the throw together team last minute, like I don't think it should come as any surprise Darkest Hour won. Like I said, the 3-0 is a little surprising, but it doesn't surprise me they won at all.
And it sounds like you kind of share the same thought process, right,
Oh,
Tim?
yeah.
Or similar?
Yeah, I didn't know it was a throw together team, so that's crazy. This is the intel. This is the stuff that like is so important to know. I did not know that, so that's even crazier. But yeah, I agree, 100%.
Yeah, it was. I didn't know it was a throwaway team either, but I do know that Kratos obviously teamed with you before King J. He's one of the better back players. He's always controlling spawns, and when he gets into that defensive position, me and Tim, we ran into him on in the tournament. He was like sitting top stock on streets. We couldn't deal with him. We couldn't get him off top stock, and no matter where the hill was, he was just sitting top stalker. Then you have Burn, who spent a little bit of time in Turkey. He was working with his father's business. Then had a stint with Jay Langs for a bit. That didn't work out exactly the way he wanted. And Shock and Avenue both teamed with the Envoy and Tony 2 turned back in at Charlotte. And I was like, okay, little Crowd Pleasers. I ain't mad. Crowd Pleasers is one of my favorite team names ever. I just think it's an awesome team name. Sadly, it was Darkest Hour that come out with the 3-0. And a lot of you guys at home, you're probably sitting there, you're watching, you're like, a lot of you guys think that names win series, but performance does. And Darkest Hour, they've been putting in the work, they've been grinding, and they put on a performance that was good enough to 3-0 Crowd Pleasers. And to be honest with you, almost anybody they went up against, that's how good they've been. Again, qualify. They've been one round for qualifying throughout almost every one of the 2Ks in the past. They qualify for the 4K in number one, in 4K number one. They qualify for this one. This is not a fluke. This team is legit. There's a reason why they got signed by Darkest Hour, the organization, and I would watch out for them. Honestly, guys, I really would. We did really good timing. Okay, all right, because I want to talk about pools. 4K number 2 is coming up. We got pool play on Saturday, most likely bracket play on Sunday. The way they've been doing it is the top 12 move on. So whoever's in 4th place gets eliminated in pool play. The 3rd place teams kind of like in a do or die mode goes into elimination bracket, and then the top 2 teams end up in winners bracket, but a number 1 seed will never play against another number 1 seed. They'll play against the number 2 seed of their opposite pools, essentially giving them an easier run to make it into the winners semis, or at least that's kind of the thought process that we've had so far. Pool A, Optic Gaming, Sentinels, Avengers, and Darkest Hour. Obviously, Optic, APG, Formal, Lucid, and Trippy. Sentinels, new look here. Lethal, Spartan, King Nick, and Suspector filling in for Collect. Collect getting dropped recently. We'll talk about him more later on. The Avengers, nobody getting poached, actually. Huss, Neuronical, Precision, and Swish 5s. Same team they've been rocking with the last few events. And then Darkest Hour, the very team that we were talking about, to remind you guys, Grand Shiesty, M305, Tricky, and Yaxin. Tim,
Yeah.
why don't we start with you? I know there's something rumbling in that head of yours. How do we
something.
feel about Pool A?
I mean, I'm real like there's a couple storylines here. Number one, I think Darkest Hour versus Avengers is going to be an incredible matchup, and the fact that Fourth is getting eliminated, I wasn't aware of that until just now. So thank you for that, Tony. I think that's a big deal. I think that's a good matchup right there. I think with Suspector on this Sentinel squad, we're talking about a completely different play style than Collect, in my opinion. I think he's more verse and less aggressive and a little more calculated. Is that respectful to is it respectful to say it that way? So I think that this Sentinel squad could really benefit from Suspector, but I'm curious how he fits in. So that's going to be interesting. Optic win the pool, obviously. I think that's kind of stupid to not say. I just nothing's going to change that, but I am very curious to see the Avengers Darkest Hour matchup, and I'm very curious to see how Sentinels perform. And I think their test will be I think their test is Avengers and Darkest Hour as well. I think we'll have to see how they perform against those two squads. So very interesting pool. I'm excited about this one.
Yeah, it's going to be tight. Jay, how tight do you think this pool is going to be? Optic, Sentinels, Avengers, and Darkest Hour.
Darkest Hour win the pool. No, I'm just kidding. Optic go 3-0. Optic go 3-0. I'm gonna say Avengers take second place. I'm gonna be honest. I think Avengers can beat Sentinels. Unfortunately, tough pull for Darkest Hour. I think they go 0-3. Not complete blowouts. I think they can put up a fight versus Avengers and Sentinels. Obviously not Optic. Yeah, Optic 1. I'm gonna say Avengers 2. I might be a little faded for that take, but I haven't seen the new Sentinels play yet. So
they played really well against
Scrims
Mantra. Yesterday, I think they 10-3 Mantra did Sentinels. So it was a nice little test for them. But again, it's scrims, not tournament play.
Yeah.
I'm not that far away from you, Jay. I feel well. First of all, to kind of talk about what you kind of alluded to, Tim. This Sentinels move to drop Collect. You know, I've a lot of people on my YouTube comments and saying they're crazy for dropping Collect and this is down the third and talking about. I've heard people talk about him as a talent, him as a person, and all of this crazy things. And let me put that to rest immediately.
Faded.
Let me put that to rest immediately. Spartan went out and said it's not about talent. It's not about character, especially not about character. He called him a great teammate, a great person, and had nothing but nice things to say about him.
Yep.
I think what we need to do is look at this less of dropping Collect and more of Sentinels trying to find the right fit, and also liberating Collect. Like I feel like the same way that Sentinels want to play a little bit more of a defensive style, you know, more setup heavy. Collect is a high damage dealing player that wants other players to pick up on that damage. So I feel like the same way that Sentinels maybe not getting the same value out of Collect when they're trying to, you know, get into their setup defensively is maybe the same way that they're not picking up on the damage that Collect is putting out there. So it's not working on both sides really, or maybe it could be working better, I should say, on both sides. So now you have Collect going to another team, which we'll talk about later, who want to play much faster, who want to up the tempo, who want to muddy up the game, who want to play a little bit more scrappy and get in your face. And this could be good for both sides. I wanted to get that out of the way before I go on my next soliloquy, because you know I love hearing myself talk. If the way I look at it is Optic, FaZe, SSG are kind of in a league of their own. Top 3, Native White, Native Red, G1 are kind of in that secondary tier, you know, fighting for that top 4 spot. And then you have like an Avengers, Proton, Sentinels, and like a Rebellion that are like legitimate. I mean, well, status quo is in S tier, obviously. Like, I mean, it's win or bust. The way I'm looking at it. But I feel that's how I feel, and I feel like Avengers have been like slowly creeping the way to like the top of that list. Like, obviously, Sentinels made some moves. Proton have a new look with Squall. We'll talk about that later. Sorry, excuse me. I'm sorry. But Proton have a new look. Rebellion continues to be practiced. I felt like Avengers though were slowly starting to creep up to like the top of that list. And that's why I like the matchup. I like the matchup with them versus Sentinels. I think it's a great test of where Sentinels are at with Spectre. And I think it's a great test to see like Avengers are one of the one of 10 teams out of the top 20 that stayed the same. By the way, the other ones are Optic, FaZe, and SSGs, and Native Whites and Native Reds. So to see like if it was worth them staying the same and continue to build on what they've been constructing already, I'm excited to watch that match. I'm sorry I took up a lot of time. We move on to the next one. I'm sorry, but that's how I wanted to talk about both Sentinels and Avengers. Sorry. Pool B: FaZe, Shopify, Rebellion, Proton, and Locked. FaZe: Frosty, Renegade, Royal 2, and Snakebite. Shopify, Rebellion, Carbea, Mental, Rain, and Ryanoob. Proton: Breaking Shot, Common, Posey, and Squale filling in after Monster has chose to leave the roster. And then you have Locked, who qualified through the qualifiers. Sorry, Arctic, Envoy, Jazero, and Tony. I started with you last time, Tim. So why don't we let the man in the dark shed some light on Pool B?
Yeah, Pool B, I think same thing as Pool A. You have the clear cut, winner out of that, obviously FaZe Clan. But then I'm gonna be honest, like all three after that, like I wouldn't be surprised to see any one of those three teams take second. I wouldn't be surprised to see Locked. I wouldn't be surprised to see Proton. Obviously Shopify. I think all three of those matchups, I think anyone can win all three of those matchups. I'll be honest. Obviously FaZe is in a tier above everyone else, but yeah, the other three are like super close. Like you have Proton have a different roster, so I don't know, where they'll be compared to where they were with Chance. Locked, obviously, like I said before, 4 great players. If they can get their teamwork dialed, they can beat any team in that pool. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really have any predictions for that one because, like I said, I think it can go any way, honestly.
Do you feel the same way, Tim?
So I'm already getting comments that I'm a FaZe fanboy. Like it's getting ridiculous.
I didn't say nothing.
I'm not saying you. I'm looking at the chat. Like I'm already getting dude. I didn't go to one event and I was happy for FaZe. And
say to get last place right now.
No, I'm not saying they're the best team. Like they're so good. I'm not saying that. But anyway, I can't have a favorite because that's not right as a caster. So, but yeah, FaZe win this pool as well. And yeah, I want to say something about, first of all, I don't like Proton Gaming. I can't stand these guys. I lost 80 CSR yesterday. They're freaking grinding like crazy as 4-stack and MM. I don't want to talk about them at all. No, I think they're really solid. I love that. I love that squad. I've talked about Breaking Shot before. I think his individual skill and his finesse is so good. Like, I can't wait to see how it kind of translate on LAN, because to be honest, I haven't really watched Breaking Shot on LAN much. But online, like the way he stays alive and his movement and stuff is nuts. And like, I can't wait to see what flourishes out of that. And I agree with to make it simple, Shopify haven't shown me enough. I wouldn't be surprised. No offense to them. Like I some hot takes here. I wouldn't be surprised if they place 3rd or 4th. I don't see, even like looking at the data hive stats, like I don't see scrims really going like heavily in their favor. And then Proton, obviously really solid, and Locked, we saw them yesterday, very, very solid as well. So 100% agree. I think first is Locked in, and then I think the other ones are just kind of a throw. Whoever performs better in the 4K is gonna take that 2nd place.
I'm struggling with this one, Tim. I'm gonna be honest with you. What in God's name was that? What did you put on the camera?
My fault.
Dude, listen, he is getting chat interaction up right now. This is good for us, bro. Keep it going, baby.
I had no idea what was happening. I'm sorry. If Proton are playing with Chance, I say Proton over Shopify. I like Proton with Chance. I think Proton were good with Haynes, by the way, already. And I think they even beat out Rebellion back at Charlotte. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think Rebellion might have taken taking some games off of Proton as well, taking some in tournament play, but they've been kind of splitting, kind of making like a nice little rivalry. And now you're adding in Squale, which is, even though I think Posey said that he's always wanted to team with Squale and they're good friends, it's still a new piece. And I liked what Chance brought to the table. I think Chance, like he has a way of like being able to break down plays as it's happening and being able to effectively communicate that to his team. And it's really interesting to watch. It really is. And I feel like no matter what team he goes on, whether it was French Toast Mafia, whether Complexity, now Proton, no matter what team it's on, I feel like they benefit from his vocal leadership in that department, his IGLing, play calling, whatever you want to call it. I think Squale is a great player, but where his strengths lies, and dude just doesn't miss a shot. Like he just has a damn accurate shot. I think Eli said oftentimes he'll just average like 60% accuracy after like a whole swim. You're like, what the hell just happened? So it's two totally different play styles and players, and I wonder how that's gonna fit. I think Proton can beat out Shopify. I think they can obviously beat out Locked. I don't like them to even win a game off of FaZe. To be honest with you, I'm gonna say that FaZe finish out first. I'm gonna say that Shopify finish out second and Proton finish third, but give Proton more time to grow together again, and we could definitely see Proton upsetting the likes of Shopify Rebellion again like they've done before. Pool C, Space Station Gaming G1 Complexity and Status Quo. You got Space Station Bound, Eco, Penguin, and Stellar. G1, Boo Dubu, Falcated, Sabinator, and the newly acquired Suppressed, dropping Spectre recently. Complexity, Psycho Tusk, and then stealing Collect from Sentinels, or well, stealing him as a free agent after being dropped, and then stealing Monster actually from Proton Gaming, and then Status Quo, kind of forgettable. Maybe some Apex player, one of like two brothers. I don't know. I think his name is Avenue or something. Some guy needs to go by the name of Piggy Saiyan back in the day, and Snake Bites Caddy. I don't
You're
know.
such a hater, bro.
Status Quo, Cherish Diagram, King J, and Piggy. Why don't we start with you, Jay? I'm sure you have some stuff to say.
Yeah, like I said before, I think the play was qualling through losers because we qualified through winners and got thrown in the pool of death. But with that being said, my mentality and my mindset is like, yeah, I mean, you can call me delusional or faded, but like when I load in, I am expecting to win. Like I don't care if it's Optic, I don't care if it's some random team I've never heard of. Like I just feel like I'm winning. Like no matter what, like I'm just confident in my team. Will it always play out like that? No, but yeah, I don't know. I think Pool C is the most competitive group of all four. I again wouldn't be surprised if at G1 win the group, Complexity win the group, if somehow we win the group. SSG, like obviously SSG are the favorites, they're in a tier of their own, but like you never know. It's tough matchups. All four of those matchups are all tough matchups, and all four of those teams I feel like can win all four individual matchups. So I don't know. That's like a banger pool. We can go 0-3. We could go 3-0. We could go 2 and nothing would surprise me. Like I said, I'm confident in my team. Like you can call me faded, but I feel like we can beat any of those guys if we are on our A game, which we'll just have to show up. I guess we'll find out on Saturday. So
I love that as you were saying that you said you wouldn't be surprised like SSG won, G1 won, Complexity
no, I
won,
wouldn't be
and then
surprised at
you
all.
said you would. And then I feel like, did you say if you wouldn't be surprised if you guys won?
I did say that. Yeah.
I would
Of
be a little
course, I wouldn't be
surprised.
surprised if I won. I'm sure
I would
everyone
be
else would be, but I wouldn't be surprised if we won.
No, but I think you're right. Everybody has a fighting chance, and if there's one pool that's really hard to gauge, it's definitely Pool C.
That's the pool of death, I think, and it's just unfortunate we got tossed into it. But I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You gotta play everyone and beat everyone, right? So.
Facts. Tim, are you as faded as King J? How do you?
No, I'm gonna say.
What do we think about Pool C?
I'm gonna say number one. This is why you play Halo Infinite online, because you grow a mental like King J has. I mean, like that's important.
Okay.
It's important to have confidence like that. I'm serious. Like I think the mental is like one of the biggest parts of anything you do, and I think having the mental that you can beat any team you play against is exactly how upsets happen. Like, SSG, I've talked about it a million times. They start so slow every freaking event. Every event they start so slow, and with fourth being eliminated, it's insane. What were you going to say, King J?
I was just going to say, like, to the point of, like, the confidence, it's just like, if you're loading into a series with in your head, like, oh, like, we can't beat this team, then you already lost. Like, before the game even starts, you already lost. So it's just like, coming into it, like I said, you can call me faded, you can call me delusional, but like I don't care who it is. Like I'm confident I'm winning. Again, like if I'm coming into the series like, oh dude, we can't beat SSG.
Right.
We already lost. There's no
Right.
point even playing the series. So
Right.
it's like that's just where I'm at when it comes to that.
Can I record you saying that? Like play that to like my ranked teammates whenever I play. I'm sorry, Tim. I think I need to play this on the mic like every time I load up into a ranked match. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I've said it before. I really do think like Halo Infinite is like 70% mental, and that comes down to decision making, positioning, all that stuff, and of course your confidence in yourself. I think like it's so important. You can't look at names and ever be in a position where you're like, oh no, like you know, I'm in a 1v1 against Bound. Like you just can't look at him like that. You got to say like Bound is, you know, I'm his dad.
Except
like that's
tapping
it.
buttons. That guy terrifies me.
See, there's some people. There is that thing. It happens, man.
Tapping buttons and HCS Bop are the two names that terrify.
See, that's so interesting.
It might be
it
two
happens.
random names you would never guess, but I swear to God.
Dude,
he's
it's
the
weird.
best player in the world. I don't care.
I'll agree. I don't like tapping buttons puts the fear of God in me.
Best shock rifle, best long range shot, fastest player, most handsome. Tapping buttons the best player in the game.
Yeah, it's so interesting to hear though too, because I'm sure like you know like I watched the 2 Times the Grind podcast the other day, and like Snakebite was saying he doesn't have anybody that like he like looks up to or whatever, or anything like that. And in my head, I'm thinking there's got to be one guy that you have a mental against. There has to be one. Everybody.
I know one. I know one. I know one.
What?
Who is it?
I know one for sure.
Who is it?
You. It's King J. I mean, think about it. I heard a story where somebody, I'm not gonna, I guess I gotta say the name, where somebody was getting bullied. And King J stepped in, and you know, and said, "Hey, look,
I'm not gonna say yeah or no, but PJ might not be PJ if I didn't have to go to the bathroom at that specific time. That's all I'm gonna say.
I love that. Love that.
Because not only was Jay been shitting on fools in game, but he also had to go apparently outside of the game as well.
Hey,
and the stall was being blocked. Somebody was getting swirlied on like some kind of 80s bullying movie, and Jay was like, "Hey, knock it off."
Hey,
not even to defend the little guy, but I have to use the restroom.
Bathroom. I was like, bro, you can't get, like, can you guys stop? Like, I'm trying to go.
And apparently they've been friends ever since. So
there it is.
That's how friendships are made.
Everything happens for a reason, huh?
I think Pool C is interesting, and not for the for what you guys mentioned, but I love storylines. I do, and I think the idea of Diagram versus Suppressed is really fun. You know, obviously have the twin of the triplets. On top of that, you have Suppressed, who left Complexity to go to G1. And then going up against Complexity, I think that's like really fun. Like even if it's not like any kind of like bad blood or anything, it's still like, hey,
like Drew and I think all of G, maybe all G1 but Sab are all in the same house. Like Boo Boo, Foul, Suppressed, Drew, they're all in the same house right now. So that's gonna be a fun one.
Along with Diagram, he bought this like Walmart table. I don't know how it's gonna support.
So when they're all on zero ping and the rest of us are struggling,
oh man,
Shotzi just buys a house and just brings all his friends out. I'm just saying.
Move me in.
I look good in the cowboy hat.
Oh, boy.
And y'all might need a caster for all this content coming out. Y'all might need a caster, content creator. I'm saying, Ant, my DMs are open. We'll talk later. But that was Pool C, and I think we have time to go over Pool D. Let's go. Native Quat, Native Red, Cloud9, and Team Mantra. Native White made of Barcode, Gilkey, McWin, and Tapping Buttons. King J's arch nemesis. Native Red. Druck, Penny, Soul Snipe, and Talon. Cloud9, you have Nemesis, Rami, Triton, and now Bohm coming in instead of Squale. And then you have Mantra, who were going by Meta, Super CC, Certify Immortally, but no longer running with no longer running with Bohm actually, and now running with Ace. So we have I don't know how I glanced over that. But yeah, Pool D. Jay, I know you're the one that's strapped for time, so I'm gonna get your thoughts first. Talk about Pool D for us.
I think Pool D is the only pool where you could confidently pick out the top two. Like I think in any other pool you can argue.
Mantra and Cloud9.
Yeah, exactly. Both native teams top two. I'm gonna give it to Native Red. I think they'll get one. White too, and then that series between Cloud9 and Mantra will be a banger. Like you said, you got Bohm playing his old team, two great rosters playing each other. I think that series will determine who gets out and who goes home last in the pool. Ooh, that's tough. I don't even know if I could pick a winner of that, honestly.
It's tough.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna try. It could go either way. I think that's a game fiver, and I think it could go anyway. So
I know what
I'll
team
just,
you should be picking.
what's
You should be picking native black. I'm just saying, like native red,
I-
native white. There's no shot that native pink is beating native black in their heyday,
You're
bro.
telling me,
Native
dude.
black was easily the best native team that ever was or ever
I'm,
will
s-
be.
I'm saying Native Black was really like that. They were really like that.
In
Come
case
on,
you guys
Dean,
don't know at
bring
home,
it back, man.
native black was captained by King J. A little inside joke there. I think notoriously native white struggle against native red, so I'm gonna say native red win this pool. But I can see why because native white are continuously getting better. So and I think they always have a fighting chance against anybody, including native red. That's really tough. I'm gonna say native red, just going by the past. But Tim, what do you think about this pool D?
I have to take the opposite side. I think Native Red are really good. I think they're obviously third at Worlds. I've been saying this forever. I think they're an amazing squad, and they kind of hit that ceiling I didn't think that they could hit at Worlds, and very impressed by that. But I think they're still very inconsistent, and it's one of their downfalls. I think that when they're hitting their stride, they could be really like one of the best teams. And I do agree with the 1 and 2 placement, native white and native red, but I'm gonna go native white, native red first and second. And then of course, very interested to see how Mantra. Like I said, I didn't get to watch Mantra. I'm interested to see how Mantra plays with Ace. Because I feel like the Ace is kind of, I don't know, obviously the veteran on this squad, but I just feel like it's I feel like he's respected on this squad, and I think that's kind of where Ace shines is when he's respected a little more. And I think he's an icy player. Just honestly, when backs up against the wall, you can kind of depend on him, in my opinion. So very interested to see this Mantra squad too.
There's one thing that can happen on Saturday that I will guarantee Mantra could probably win the pool. If Aaron Ace Elam tans his nuts Saturday morning, every team in that pool better watch out because Mantra will run them over. I'm telling you right now.
I gotta agree. You got the two best players in the world on the same team, and that's tapping buttons along with Ace, fresh off of a nut tanning. So I mean, at that point, whoever plays Mantra in the mornings that heavily influence the brackets. As Mantra plays Cloud9 first, it's okay. Now Cloud9, if Mantra play native red first thing in the morning, fresh off of the tanning, then at that point we might have an upset of either number 2 or number 1 seed. So whoever plays Mantra first thing after the tanning will really change up, and I guess that's what makes Pool D the true pool of death. Ladies and gentlemen, that's our pools breakdown. That's how we end it.
What a way to end it.
That's it. Native black win. Mantra in second place. Cloud9 don't compete. Native red end up in the loser bracket. That's how we end the pools. We broke down the qualifier. We broke down the pool play. And yeah, we do this HCS source literally every single week. We try to keep it within an hour. Most of the time, we actually go over it. This is probably the first time, Tim, that we actually are going to get it within the hour. Let's go, us. We're finally getting it. But even though, Tim, I love you, I want to use this as time to shout out our guest, King J. We joked around and whatnot, had some laughs, I had some jokes, but at the end of the day, he was cool enough to come here fresh off of competing, cool enough to share his thoughts, and cool for us not to waste any power whatsoever in the home whatsoever. Make sure that the lights are turned off. But Jay, if is there? I don't know if you're still. I don't see you streaming much, but where can we find you as far as Twitch, Twitter, OnlyFans?
Hey, listen. The OnlyFans is for the tier 3 subs. So head on over to twitch.tv/KingJ. Tier 3 sub will get you the OnlyFans. Twitter, KingJJS. And Fareed is bald. That's all I got to say. That's my final words.
Love that. Appreciate you coming on.
Beautifully said. Tim, where I know you're crushing the content world. Why don't you tell us where the fans could find you?
I'm not gonna take the time to shout out myself. You guys know where to find me. I do want to say I want to give a shout out to King Jay for coming on the show. I want to give a shout out to you, Tony. I know you've been very consistent with your content on YouTube and stuff like that. I love it, and I want everyone to go watch your content on YouTube. If you guys want news on this stuff, of course, HCS Source every week, and Tony's as well I think almost every day. Tony's doing some stuff. So yeah, appreciate you, Jay, for King Jay, for coming on, and it was a fun time.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. And just to make sure that I'm in uniform real quick, make sure we go
You gotta turn the lights off.
And well, Tim doesn't have his shirt though, so we're good. I'll make sure I'm in uniform. And yeah, guys, that was your HGS. That was your HGS Source, guys. Come back next week. We'll be here 10 p.m. Eastern every single Tuesday. And yeah, I'm sure we'll see you soon. Peace out.